A numbers game on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Back on a numbers game. Dustin Sweetelson with Kelly Bidlin with you for the next couple hours here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Thanks for hanging out with us. However you're tuning in, Sirius XM 158 YouTube TV, VSiN Watch app, radio affiliates across the United States, God Bless America, and Game Plus up in old Canada. Baseball trade deadlines come and gone. A lot of buyers out there believing that they have a chance, despite everyone in the narrative saying, the Dodgers are inevitable. They got Skubal. The league is falling apart. We'll ask our next guest if that is the truth. He is Joe Sheehan. Check him out, joesheehan.com, the Joe Sheehan Baseball Newsletter, a legend in the game, and at Joe_Sheehan on X. Where do you come down on all the complaining about the Dodgers, Joe? Because I got to tell you, I've reached a point where I actually appreciate the Dodgers. I love what they did for baseball. It gives us an evil empire to root against. But all this talk that they're just locked up and going to win the third straight World Series, as if it didn't take 7 games to get past the Blue Jays, who are sub 500 this year. Do you believe the Dodgers are inevitable, or is this thing a little bit more wide open than people perceive?
Yeah, the Dodgers' odds have gotten a little bit ridiculous, as has the narrative around them. This is just not the way baseball works, guys. We've had this expanded playoff format since 1995. And if we've learned anything, it's that the best team does not always win. When you match up playoff baseball teams, the gap between the best and the worst is smaller than it is in the NFL or in the NBA. So you get the Giants winning in 2014. You get the Cardinals winning in 2006. It's not just the best team advances. The Dodgers, I saw maybe plus 145, maybe plus 150 on the broadcast the other night. Let's say that's the number. To get to a plus 150 favorite playing 3 best-of series, they'd have to be a 3-1 favorite in every series. And that's simply not the way baseball works. Now, I have not been able to find a no on the Dodgers winning the World Series. Here in New York, you guys may have it in Vegas. But that's the bet. If you give me a fair no, say minus 170, minus 175, I really think that's the way to go because there's a massive overreaction to the Dodgers getting schooled.
No, minus 166 over at Kalshi right now. So available out there at Kalshi in some of the prediction markets for people that might be interested. Because, Joey, I'm kind of interested in betting that no price as well. Just going to yesterday, all the moves that we saw, kind of just which one was the biggest surprise to you, Joe?
The Orioles trading Adley Rutschman only because they'd gotten to within there's 2.5 of a playoff spot. This was really felt like the last run of their cycle behind Henderson and Rutschman. Kyle Bradish had been pitching well. They brought up all of these players about 3 or 4 years ago, made the playoffs 2 straight years, missed this year. I thought with this run, they would actually keep Rutschman and go for it. I don't know that Mike Elias has the job security to start another rebuilding cycle, which is what he did here by trading Rutschman for a series of prospects from the Red Sox. Now, on merit, he made a good trade. They got 3 really good prospects from the Red Sox, including a pitcher, Anthony Ianson, has been one of the highest risers this year. I'm just surprised that they actually tapped out. You look at Elias, who's had this job since the winter of 2018-19, 2 playoff appearances and a collapse from there. I just don't know that he's going to be around for another rebuild.
No, they got to move on here. And I know last year, kind of raw deal with Corbin Burns, or a couple years ago when they traded for Corbin Burns and it didn't work out. But they're kind of the lesson to me in how teams handle trading prospects. You can't sit on every prospect and hope that they're all going to work out because some guys don't have playing time. There's positional redundancies. Take advantage of the hype that shouldn't exist for these guys and bring in guys who can make an impact on the major league roster. As far as the deadline goes, who are some of your favorite trades, like the biggest winners for you, Joe?
I think the Angels did well, which is a sentence I haven't said in 25 years. John Mozeliak, kind of in a temp role as their GM, going out and trading Jose Soriano, who got off to that great start this year, guys, but he really a number 3 for one of the top shortstop prospects in the game, and Arjun Nimala, some other prospects from the Blue Jays. I like that aggression. I love the trade they made with the Cubs. I'm always in favor of trading relief pitchers, especially when it's really been a hot month. Ryan Seferian been very good for this team over the last month, got his walk rate under control, but they were able to get Moises Ballesteros for him, and Moises Ballesteros, top 30 prospect just a year ago. So, he got jammed up in Chicago. The catchers, Carson Kelly, Miguel Amaya, blocked him behind the plate. He got some DH at bats. He was platooned. It didn't go very well. I think he gets an opportunity to play every day in Anaheim and turns out to be really good. So, I thought the Angels had a surprisingly good day, given we've been making Angels jokes now for quite some time.
Yeah, Joe, I guess when turning towards some of the teams that we think are truly in the mix to win a World Series, to win an LCS, biggest threats going forward, who position themselves best after this trade deadline?
Among the contenders, I think the Cubs had the best day. This is a team that's had so many pitching injuries, has really been faking it with the pitching side of it. And still, they were on pace for 91 wins coming into the deadline. And you look at what they did picking up Kevin Gausman, Clay Holmes, who's currently injured, should be back shortly. I mentioned Zephyr-John. They bolstered that rotation and that bullpen such that not only do they have better players now, but they're better positioned when guys like Ben Brown and maybe even Justin Steele come back. They'll get Daniel Palencia back later this month. This is a team whose pitching staff on July 31st and August 31st is going to look much different. And you look at last year's postseason, they basically ran out of pitching when they faced the Brewers. I don't think that's going to be a problem for them this year. So I think among the contenders, the Cubs had the best day yesterday.
Joe Sheehan is our guest, joesheehan.com for the Joe Sheehan baseball newsletter at Joe_Sheehan. You can find him on X. Let's look at the baseball card for today, Joe. And you and I are simpatico on this one, my friend. Mets are in Cleveland. It's two lefties on the bump. Joey Cantillo facing Sean Manaea. Total 7.5. Mets plus $1.29, but we're both looking at the Guardians. It's up to minus 156, but Shop Run might be able to find a better number out there. Which direction are you looking at here?
Yeah, this moved a lot this morning. I was looking at it this morning. I want to say I got it at 136 at one shop. But yeah, the Mets, some of this is subjective. I watched the Mets a fair amount over this last weekend, and they just look like a team that's pretty much ready for the banana boat. A lot of their veterans have had such bad years. And you look at a lot of their innings, it's guys like AJ Ewing and Carson Bench will get on base, and then Luis Robert and Jorge Polanco will make outs. It's just such a dichotomy on this team, with the veterans they brought in are terrible. The other issue is a little less subjective. They traded Brooks Raley, Wasker Brisbane, and a right-handed reliever whose name I'm blanking on. They traded three of their top four relievers.
Weaver.
Luke Weaver. A lot of names the last couple of days, guys. It's a little exhausting. Anyway, they traded 3/4 of their bullpen. And even if they can get a lead, I think they're going to have a hard time keeping it. Basically, Daniel Duarte, a rookie right-hander, and Devin Williams make up their bullpen now. They're calling up a whole bunch of guys to play the series. So I think there are a lot of different paths for the Guardians to win this game.
All right, like it, Joe. Next game on the board, you've got a play-in as well. The A's and the Reds going at it here. We've got the Reds about minus 133 favorites, total set at 9. Where are you looking in this game?
Yeah, well, I understand the Reds didn't acquire anybody at the deadline. They traded away Nathaniel Lowe. They've been a bit disappointing. They're going up against an A's team that, again, you're looking for teams that have kind of checked out. The A's have lost 25 out of 30. With all of the injuries they've had, they've really fallen apart offensively. Nick Kurtz, of course, he sat out yesterday. Questions about his hand. He went to a specialist. But even if he plays, the A's are a team now that has just two above-average hitters in the lineup in Kurtz and Tyler Soderstrom. The offense is just terrible. Even getting JT Ginn back isn't going to help him all that much because Ginn's going to go 5 or 6. He's going to turn it over to one of the worst bullpens in baseball. This is just a very bad team. Guys, a couple of weeks ago, I gave you the A's for the worst record in baseball. I gave you the A's to not hit their over. I think both of those look really good today. This is a team that could, I remember the Orioles finished one year 4-32 back in the 2000s, I want to say. The A's could have that kind of finish here.
Joe, last one here. The Cubbies taking on Tarek Skubal. His first ever start at Wrigley Field. I'm actually on Skubal under strikeouts tonight. Dodgers minus 219 on the road at Chicago feels disrespectful when the Cubs are much better against left-handed pitching than most teams in baseball. Total's 9. You can get the Cubs at almost plus $1.80 at home, and that's the direction you're going to look?
It is, because I don't think the Dodgers right now should be minus 200 over anybody. We saw them get swept over the weekend in Boston. We saw them come into the break losing, 4-6 to the Rockies and Diamondbacks. The Dodgers get bored. I'm sorry. I know this is not the most analytical point, but when the Dodgers start the season, they know their next relevant game is going to be played until October 1st. And they pretty much locked up the West. They're in what's a pretty good 3-team race for the buys. But we saw the Dodgers last year kind of not care that much about getting the buy, sweep the Reds, and then go on to win the World Series. It's not the Dodgers are inevitable. It's that the Dodgers will inevitably get bored. That's the point of the season we're in right now. And I just think there's just no business, even with Skubal on the mound, for them to be minus 200 over everybody. So give me the Cubs at big plus money, even against Skubal.
He's the best in the game. He's Joe Sheehan. Check out the Joe Sheehan baseball newsletter, joesheehan.com, and on X at Joe_Sheehan. Appreciate the conversation. As always, look forward to chatting again down the road, Joe.
Thanks, fellas.
You're here because you want an edge. That's what separates listeners from winners. But let's be real, mindset alone doesn't get bets home. Pros win because they've got the tools, the data, and the discipline. And now so can you. VSiN Pro gives you access to the same real-time insights the sharps use. No secrets, no fluff, just actionable info that moves markets. Tap the link and see why serious bettors are turning knowledge into profit with VSiN Pro.
A numbers game on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
It's a numbers game. Dustin Sweetelson in for Gil Alexander. That's Kelly Bidlin. Coming up 45 minutes from now, Spanky's going to be in studio. Talk a little Bet Bash here.
Bet Bash getting started this week. Our next guest will be doing a seminar.
That's what I thought.
Yeah,
that was going to be the transition here. You're reading my brain right now. I looked at the people who are speaking, and I saw our next guest being listed there. So I think that is worth the price of admission alone. You can get an extended conversation. You can also see the luscious locks of Drew Dinsick in person, in the flesh. He joins us now, NBC sports betting analyst, the podcast, The Deep Dive, at Whale_Capper on X. And Drew joins us here on the Progressive Guest Line. So Drew, talk to me. I believe I saw you're listed to do a little seminar on tennis betting. Before we get to the actual bet bash and the handicapping, when Drew Dinsick comes to Vegas, what's the game plan? Like, what's the vibe for you out here?
I wasn't told I was doing tennis betting. Is that really what I'm on? No, I'm just kidding. It's going to be a great segment on tennis betting. And honestly, like, you know, a lot of people probably belly aching that there's no sports on, blah, blah, blah. All we got is baseball. I can see behind you on the big screens there. There's some good tennis matches on this week. We have both Toronto and Montreal. That's, of course, the men's and women's Canadian Opens going on right now. This is a big deal. We're ramping up the hard court swing into the U.S. Open, and friend of the program who lives in the UK will be joining me on the panel to talk about just some of the basics of tennis handicapping. We're going to talk about some of the, tell some stories, obviously. And then we're going to get into a deep dive of the U.S. Open and how we are seeing, player form heading into the U.S. Open, strategies for betting slams, match by match and futures and outrights. And honestly, we put together a Google Doc and have just kind of filled it with ideas that we want to cover. It's going to be very, very tough to squeeze it into an hour, but we're gonna do that, and we're gonna leave time at the end for Q&A for anyone who's kind of getting into tennis handicapping and wants to pick our brain on experience and strategy. So should be a lot of fun. Everyone will leave that seminar kind of an equal mix of kind of educated and entertained is the goal.
But what is the Dinsick move? What's the vibe when you get to town? When you come to Vegas, like, what's your go-to moves?
I'm all business. What's funny is how your apps are on your phone are always spying on you. Yeah. Well, I pretty much flip open Uber and it's like, you need a ride to Circa? It's like, yeah.
Oh, by the way, you know what? You bring this up. There's a
saved. Yeah.
At the same time as Bet Bash, there's a hacker convention going on the same time in Vegas. So be careful with those apps spying on you right now.
That's like
just completely, it's just complete random luck that's happening. But yeah, no, it's a small world. But no, I ride to Circa. I kind of settle in, drink a healthy amount of water. My Vegas experiences, I try to keep them relatively tight in terms of time spent, boots on the ground. And I keep it very, very lean, time spent, minutes in the room. So drop off the stuff and hit the casino floor and then try to get to bed by 5.
Yeah, I respect that.
Get to bed by 5.
I respect that move, even though it goes against all conventional wisdom, what everyone does when they come to Vegas. But you know what? I'm meeting new people who treat Vegas differently. And I think as I get older, I treat it differently.
Sure.
I think if I didn't live here, I'd be more about the relaxation aspect of Vegas than I would about the actual getting hammered and running around, having a good time. Kelly's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I would never do that in my life. Okay.
Hey, you can do all of that. Yeah.
Well, speaking of hype, the hype in Vegas is to party and have a good time. Let's talk about NFL teams coming into the year. A lot of hype around them. Who are you not buying? What you're seeing out there, Drew?
Yeah, it's a funny kind of mix of buying and, like you said, there's hype around 30 of the 32 NFL teams. And some of it is stuff I am buying into. Like I happily buy into the Mike McDaniel hype and what he's going to do for that Chargers offense. Happily buying into what Jesse Minter is going to mean for the Ravens defense. Happily. Less interested in what I think is kind of strangely turning into the kind of the intelligentsia pick for the Super Bowl, which is the Houston Texans. I'm very, 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 very buyer beware on the Texans. I don't think this is an especially good offense. I think there's huge questions about how high of a ceiling CJ Stroud affords you as far as offensive, just reaching a ceiling. I think that what's happening is pretty obvious. Everybody is looking at what happened last year with the Seattle Seahawks and being like, man, if you just have an absolute, soul crushing defense, you can just win the Super Bowl with Sam Darnold. So as I look across the NFL, like obviously the personnel on the Texans, they have a soul crushing defense. They could win. Right. And it's like, yeah, sure, they could. But is CJ Stroud was he the third best quarterback in the AFC South? I mean, if Daniel Jones didn't do his ACL, is he the fourth best? Or if he didn't do his Achilles, excuse me, is he the fourth best? So it's definitely that's the one thing that I've kind of noticed. Everyone with the pulse is sort of gravitating towards the Texans. The FTN Almanac obviously has very interesting kind of content, and really, really I love reading sort of the pros about the teams. Their projections on the Texans to me look wildly bullish, and I really do not understand how they're coming up with some of these numbers on this offense. This is still an offensive line that's clearly bottom 5 in the NFL, in my opinion. CJ Stroud, I think, is a little bit broken when it comes to facing quick pressure, and they have an awesome wide receiver room. But the running back room and the tight end room are lacking. I'm not seeing the offensive complementary side of the Texans to warrant any type of real serious consideration of a threat in the AFC. Yeah, I think. Yeah, good.
Drew, is there a sell for you right now in the futures markets on Houston, or is it a play on Jacksonville, or is it just kind of a look to play against Houston once we get into the season? Because I think I'm with you. This is high floor team for me because of the defense, but yes. I don't know what the ceiling's like. And I think that ceiling in Jacksonville might actually be a little higher. There's a little bit more room for hope there for me, at least.
You framed the question well, because you're right. The Texans are in a bucket with the Seahawks and the Vikings and Broncos to a degree. The Broncos, although I'm starting to get a little whiff about the Broncos that I'm not loving also. I'll get to that in a second. But yeah, these teams in a bucket where you look at what they did last year defensively, and it's obvious there is a high floor, which is going to kind of keep them competitive throughout the season, right? They're not going to lose games to bad teams very often. They're going to kind of get into that double-digit win range. They need to have a seat at the table come playoffs. But if you don't have the potential for a step forward offensively, I don't really think you can make it to the Super Bowl. I mean, I guess I look at specifically the kind of the magic of what Seattle did last year, and the fact that you had this truly remarkable season from JSN, breakout from Sam Darnold with Clint Kubiak. Like, that was a great combination on paper before the season started, and I'm not necessarily seeing that with Houston. But I think the answer is they're going to be in the mix, even if it's just a wild card, and you're going to have to just pick your time to pull the ripcord on them and bet against them with conviction. That was the way it was with them last year. I remember Houston was probably my favorite handicap of the entire playoffs. They were so very clearly going to be able to exercise their advantage with the pass rush against Aaron Rodgers that they were an easy bet on. And again, like, CJ Stroud was terrible in that game. It didn't matter. Mm-hmm. And then, the next game against the Patriots, it was again pretty straightforward. Like, they are in harm's way here, and CJ Stroud is not the guy that's getting them across the finish line in this type of condition. So I think basically it's just a matter of timing your pull the ripcord on the Texans if everyone is a believer. And right now, for whatever reason, everyone's a believer.
Yeah, Drew, I want to believe, but the big hang up for me is the offensive line isn't better. And if the offensive line isn't better, how is CJ Stroud going to improve in what was a horrific year a year ago? He's Drew Dinsick. Check him out, NBC Sports Deep Dive Podcast on X at @whale_capper. And if you come to Bet Bash, you can see him in person. Thanks for the time, Drew. I'll see you walking around Circa over the next week.
I love it. Best of luck, guys.
It is a numbers game. Dustin Sweetelson in for Gil Alexander, riding as always with Kelly Bidlin here, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. And when you look at the calendar, you see it turn to August. You know football's around the corner, and it's become an annual tradition around here. You know, at Circa, it is time for Bet Bash. And joining us in studio to talk about, I can't believe we're saying it, Bet Bash 6.
Wow, yeah.
Is Spanky, you know him, pro sports bettor, host of Be Better Betters, Bet Bash creator, and on X at Spanky. And he joins us now in studio. When you hear that, the sixth one, take us back to the genesis, when this began, when the idea first formed. Because at first, I'm sure you went, I have a great idea, but we all have great ideas. You never know if it's going to work out and get executed. You've executed this marvelously, man. We're at year number 6 right now.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Thanks. Yeah, you know, this is, when we go back to the genesis, as you said, Dustin, this was Bet Bash 1. We took place in Jersey City, and this was at 2021, right at the tail end of COVID. And I myself was just waiting to try to meet people face to face, you know what I mean, instead of just doing the whole online thing. And it was kind of needed by everybody. So I said, you know what, let's try this thing out, a sports betting networking party. And it was just a one-night event in Jersey City. Had 220 people show up from all over the world for a one-night event. And it was just, a nice open bar. And we had to be outdoors because of the whole COVID policies. So we were at a rooftop bar. And man, it was just a big hit. And then I knew right then and there, there's something here. It was kind of a proof of concept thing. And that's when I said, you know what, I got to take this to bigger and better pastures. And that's when I talked to Derek and Matt Metcalf, who was a sportsbook director at the time. And I said, I want to make this a multi-day event and bring it to Vegas. And Derek was all in.
I'm just curious, because you talk about meeting in person and we lived behind our computers. We lived with all the isolation for so long. And I think a lot of the effects of that were shown in sports betting Twitter, with kind of the animosity and the anger and the way people operated. How much was that motivation for you as part of getting people together to kind of, because I think what I'm seeing when people come out here for this, they start becoming friends on social media when they probably weren't before and probably thought they didn't like each other before because they didn't know each other.
Exactly. Everybody online is a little bit, more on edge and a little bit, let's just face it, meaner. So to speak. But once you see somebody in person, everybody, lightens up and, all of a sudden those, the phone Capones, as we call them, and, the trolls, they kind of just, ease up. And then everybody just says, hey, listen, we're all humans. We're all trying. We all love the same thing. We love to bet sports. We love talking about betting sports. We love discussing strategies and angles. And let's get together. And maybe back home when you have a friend that might not be so much into it, or you might be in a circle of friends that not everybody's into that. Here, everybody talks your language, and that's what makes it so special.
And we're on the same team.
Yeah.
It's us against the book. Stop fighting with each other. We're on the same team here.
Absolutely. And that's one of the main reasons why we have it at Circa is because, we're trying to make people better bettors. And we're trying to educate sports bettors on how to climb that ladder of sports betting. And you have to be able to do that in a sports book that welcomes all customers. And that if you win, you're not going to get limited. You're not going to get shown the door. And the only joint that, that would do that is Circa. So that's why it was a perfect fit.
Yeah, Spanky with us. Year 5 now out here at Circa in Las Vegas. This is what's been, getting to attend it almost every single year for me. I can kind of tell some things that have surprised me of how much it's grown. But is there a certain aspect? Is it maybe some of the talks, some of the just networking? What is it specifically that maybe surprises you the most of how it's grown over the past 5 years?
Honestly, listen, I do 1 or 2 of these shows every year with Gil and you, Kelly, and I don't really market, and I just can't believe just word of mouth. Essentially, we have a couple ads here on VSiN, but for the most part, we don't really market it. Just all spread on word of mouth, and people just know, this is the only conference of its kind where it just focuses on the sports bettor. I've been to conferences with legislators and regulators and operators, and that's all. And everybody's just on a different mindset there. Here we focus on the bettor, and it's grown because we've had more education involved. We have over 35 unique pieces of content, whether it be live podcasts, educational seminars, expert panels. And then we also know how to have fun. We're talking 4 open bars, the Thursday night Hall of Fame game for the NFL. We have a beautiful watch party at Stadium Swimming over here at the Circus Sportsbook. Beautiful spread that Circa puts out. And then it all gets capped out by the Sports Gambling Hall of Fame induction ceremony on Friday night.
So let's peel back a little bit here, because we have people listening all over the country, SiriusXM, YouTube TV, radio affiliates, the VSiN Watch app, and they're all walks of life. Some of them are new bettors. Some of them are experienced bettors. We also have the pro bettors. When I list off all those types of people, who of that group makes sense to be coming to BetBash?
Every single person, every person BetBash is made for, from the novice to the expert and everybody in between. We have legit billionaires that show up that are the best of the best. And we have guys that are just coming, guys and gals that are just coming in and just getting into sports betting. We have a sports betting 101 seminar that we run every year. And there's always 40, 50. The first year we did, it was 90 people showing up to sports betting 101. So that just goes to show you that we try to design the content for every single person that is interested in sports betting. And I think, that it's a testament to the speakers that I'm able to get, and that devote their time to come to the conference. It's not easy to be able to, carve out 2 or 3 days to be able to come out to Vegas and speak on this. And I make it a point not to, at least as of now, not to stream any of this content. Of course, if I wanted to maximize profits and maximize revenue, we could stream all this, but we wanted to make this an in-person only type thing. So if you want to hear what these experts have to say, if you want to learn something, you got to be here.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of it. And that's why people come. We have over, I think now the count is 24 different countries represented, and all 50 states represented this year at BetBash.
That's incredible. Yeah, I caught you on Twitter with the all 50 states. I know you were finding one last one, right?
Yeah,
we were able to get that.
Exactly.
Oh, did we get Idaho?
We got Idaho. We got Idaho.
Go. You're like Howard Dean now. We're going to take New Hampshire.
Yeah, we got Idaho. We got the potato guy, and then we're good to go.
Oh, man, I love
Somebody
it.
actually that writes for Boise State is coming
there
up.
you go.
Yeah.
Well, that works out.
It was really good.
Well, we were talking just before we hit air. The panels are so awesome every single year. I love trying to attend them. Kind of spreading them out a little bit more this year, adding to what you usually do. What are you excited about adding to the schedule this year?
Well, when it comes to education, the panels or something, it's just, we always have legends featured. One of my good buddies passed away just about a month ago, Fats, who's a sports gambler. He's just going to be inducted into the Sports Gambling Hall of Fame. So we're going to have a thing about remembering Fats, where everyone's going to be telling stories about Fats. Fats would come to every BetBash and he'd roll around in his scooter and stuff. And he was just a happy face to be in. He's just, he'll be definitely missed. And I think that's something I'm looking forward to just kind of share stories about my buddy who kind of taught me a lot. And who worked with the best of the best, was working for Billy Walters, back in the 80s and 90s, and worked for several groups, Tigers, Philly Crew, and a lot of different syndicates. And he's really was the pros pro, and I really miss him. It's cancer sucks. What can you say? But
yeah, but he's kind of a testament to the community that you've built through this event, because I would see him on social media interacting with other people that they only met here. The friendship developed here. So it's a really beautiful thing. Spanky is our guest. He is the creator of BetBash, going down starting tomorrow. Tonight. Sorry, tonight at Circa. I was just looking at the schedule for all the seminars and whatnot. So what's new this year? Because you guys do so many different things. There's the networking you mentioned, the speed networking. You can meet the legends. Everyone's accessible. You can walk up to anyone, talk to them about anything. And you're trying to teach people here, but also have a little bit of fun. What are some new wrinkles that people can expect?
So today, our new thing, we're going to have a charity, Autism New Jersey, who's a charity that local charity that I support. They're coming out, and we're going to be doing a dunk tank charity event on Friday afternoon right outside the Circa, right here on Fremont Street. And we're going to, a couple of major sports betting personalities are going to be there. And you're going to try to dunk them and raise money for charity. So I'm pretty proud of that. That's going to be fun. And then just the whole, we're going to have some expert panels that are going to be there. A couple of beautiful hot topic debates, specifically on prediction markets, and the legality of those and how that's, kind of to try to navigate towards what the future holds there. So there'll be some legal analysis on that, which I'm looking forward to. And, we have everything from betting syndicates to the history of sports betting. My friend David Hill is going to be running a seminar on that, talking about, how we came to be at this level, how sports betting has grown to this massive industry that it is. But what happened? How did all that start? And I think that's going to be an interesting talk as well.
Wow, you're going to give back to the community with charity. Everything I see about people who know nothing about the betting community, they say we're doing nothing but bad things out here. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. It's a great point. Great point.
I always think it's curious when people who don't know anyone in the betting world, they don't realize what it pays for in states when it's legalized and how it operates and helps these governments and these education systems and whatnot. You're doing an awesome thing, man. I
appreciate it, man.
I can't imagine when it began that you ever thought it'd be this.
Honestly, when you start something, and I don't want to, think that it was going to be this big, but when I start something, I'm not trying to half-ass it and say, okay, we're just going to do this a one-time thing.
Sure.
I really thought this is something that everybody needed. Yeah. And it was for selfish reasons. I'm going to be honest. I wanted to meet people. I wanted to grow my network. In the sports betting world, you kind of learn as you scale and as you kind of grow and grow, you realize you can't do this thing alone.
No.
You need friends, you need people, you need different avenues to grow. And I think that's what Bet Bash is all about, where you might not be good at one thing, but let's just say you need A, B, C, and D. You might be good at A and C, but you need somebody for B and D, and you got to find those people. And when you grow that network and you build that team, synergies are inevitable.
Yeah, by nature, it's an antisocial thing we do here. We spend so much time in front of the computer watching sports. It's good to get some FaceTime. Check it out, Bet Bash, right now. It is going down tonight at Circa. People can still sign up, right?
Yeah, there's limited tickets still available. It's going to be big. It's going to be over 800 people this year. It's going to be nuts.
Come by, see Spanky, hang out, meet some cool people and network. Thanks for coming by, man.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, guys.
Who you decide to bet on every week in the NFL, that is a personal choice. I do not judge. So I tasked Kelly with this. Who are the top 5 coach quarterback combos that he likes to bet on? And I made my list. He made his top 5. It's not necessarily the best, but it's who in certain situations you go, you know what? I like putting my money on this person, because nobody's an automatic fire every single week. It's about whether you believe that that person's going to show up and cover the number, whether as a favorite, whether as a dog, however it may be. So Kelly, without further ado, who is your top 5?
Yeah, I guess I took it more as the top 5 I trust.
Yeah.
But yeah, trust to bet on is usually how it plays out. I think there is one pair that you brought up pre-show. We'll get into it about. Number 1, Matthew Stafford, Sean McVay. I just think that is we saw this play out last year. One of the best offensive minds in football was Sean McVay. You've got Matthew Stafford running an elite offense there in LA. That was pretty easy, actually, for me to go number 1.
Yeah.
I did go Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, number 2. There's been some injuries. There has been, you could take a step back and say some stat decline here from Patrick Mahomes over the past couple of years. That's fair. Don't know if they've got all the weapons needed on the offense to kind of turn back time and look like a championship team again. But we've seen this pair get it done for many years. I'm still confident to put them this high on the list, Dustin. Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, number 2. Number 3, I guess, is where I'm getting a little aggressive, but I'm a believer.
I don't believe you're being aggressive. Okay. I thought about going higher.
Yeah, I thought so too, but I was like, I can't do it to Mahomes and Andy Reid. Caleb Williams, Ben Johnson. I think Ben Johnson right there with Sean McVay. Immediately, there were the questions. How much of it was the setup in Detroit, coming to Chicago? I think we saw his ability as a coach completely play out last season. I think it continues. I am not one of those people that thinks Chicago is due for a ton of regression this year. I think they have a real chance in the NFC North. And I think Caleb Williams, it proved some doubters wrong last year, including me. I think I was one that still had massive questions about Caleb Williams. I think he's a baller. He's lost some weight. I think he's in for a big season this year. Number 4, Josh Allen and Joe Brady, because the head coach doesn't matter with Josh Allen. That's how I took this one, Dustin. The head coach, enter any name there. Josh Allen elevates you to this level. Number 4. And then number 5, And maybe I'm low on this one. Absolutely a chance for this pair to rise this season. Brock Purdy and Kyle Shanahan. I have a feeling you probably have them even higher because don't you have an MVP bet on Brock?
I don't, because I don't do well betting on them.
Yeah, it's been mixed results for me too.
The rare time they're an underdog, yes. As a favorite, I've been wrong, I've been right. It's kind of 50-50 with them. When I look at your list, so the reason Kansas City, I don't have them on mine, is I've been annoyed by the style of play that they go with the last few years, the condensing the game, the limiting possessions, the relying on the defense. Mahomes in the fourth quarter, they win, but they don't cover as much as I need them to just like really trust them like I used to. If you're going straight up, you're doing the money line parlay, yeah, you back Kansas City, but they're not always covering the number, at least when I'm betting on them from my perspective. All right. We have a couple that are the same. Let's go with mine. We both have McVay and Stafford number one. I mean, that's not even a debate for me. So McVay 87-72 against the spread, 60-48 against the spread as a favorite, 50-42-3 covering since Stafford arrived in 21. But here's the deal. Outside of Thursday night last year against San Francisco when I lost in Survivor, I trust McVay to have plays in his back pocket ready to go when he needs something. And you know he's prepared. You know he can make adjustments. And you know that Stafford can make all the throws. That's the other element here. The quarterback, and I think Stafford last year when he won MVP was operating at a Brady-like level. That is the highest compliment I can play. He was so advanced, just like watching the play out in front of him and developing. He knew what to do with the football before it happened. So that's why they're number one. Number two for me is DeMeco Ryan, CJ Stroud. Not because I like betting them against the spread.
I like this. You went a different way with this.
It's because I know they're dictating the style of the fight. It's less about covering. It's more about knowing the game flow. 16-11 as an underdog, 6-3 against the spread as a home dog. But here's where the numbers really tell the story. Speaking of hedging your opinion with numbers, 17-10 to the 1 to the under at home, 17-11-1 to the under away, 17-11-1 under as a favorite, 17-9-1 to the under as an underdog. You know it's going to be a low-scoring game if they are involved, partially because CJ Stroud has some issues, but two, because that defense is always dialed all the way up. Number three for me, I'm going with the Bears, and I debated putting them at 2. Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson. You know that Ben Johnson has something ready to go. He's also ready to just unload the playbook at any point in time to win a random game with crazy plays, throws to offensive linemen, tight ends, completing passes. Like, he's always got a trick up his sleeve to ensure he gets the win. But when you bet your money, you feel good that you know the coach that you're betting on is going to pull out all the stops to keep it close and try and cover that number if he's ahead. Number 4, give me Seattle. Mike McDonald, Sam Darnold. Darnold only brings this down because I'm scared of the turnovers, even though I am a Darnold guy. But Mike McDonald, 12-4-1 against the spread on the road. That tells you how good of a coach he is to cover on the road routinely. And then lastly, I have the Chargers. Jim Harbaugh, Justin Herbert. It's more about the way they are together. A lot of the transgressions for Herbert, I think, are from the Brandon Staley era. And the way he's played under Harbaugh, I believe in them because it comes down to the fourth quarter making throws. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I think that the way that they're playing off of each other, they could be due for a big year here.